Oh, snap. What is up, everybody? We are live and welcome to the Just Joe King podcast. I am one half of the podcast King.
And I'm Joe.
And as you can see, it is on display, loud and in full effect and in HD. Look at our HD mugs. All right. Out there for everybody. Look, let's get into the marketing stuff real quick before we get into what we're going to be talking about today. So, where can you find us at? All right. We go live every 2 weeks on YouTube and Facebook. We have a public facing Facebook page. You can just search Just Joe King Podcast and you'll find us there. Not able to catch us visual, that's cool. Because right after this, your boy is going to put it on all major podcasting platforms. And you can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, basically all major podcasting platforms and some non major ones as well. So if you like our voices, you can go and hear us there and get the content that we put out. Joe, how do you feel about that?
I think it's pretty cool. I
It
mean,
is.
being able to catch a podcast just about anywhere is nice.
Yeah, man, it's nice. And I'll tell you what, I've gained an appreciation for just content. All right. And we're living in this technology age that getting content put out to you is free and cheap. You know what I'm saying? Or free for the fact that as long as you already have the device and you're paying for whatever service,
Hmm.
you can get content that can keep you entertained or teach you about something. And that's what
Yeah.
I've been using my podcast and live streaming for us to learn and be entertained. All right. So look, man, we have a special episode today. The episode's about you.
Hmm.
It's about you, and you're having something, I would call it life changing,
Yeah.
that you're about to go through, and that you're going to be partnering. And I might say the terminology wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong with it. But partnering with a nonprofit to receive a service dog.
I wouldn't say it's partnering. I'm going through a process with an organization, and they're helping me. Um, I've been on a waiting list for a while. It takes a long time. The process for a service animal takes a long time, and yeah, it's going to be life changing. I even beforehand, it's just I know, like, out of the astronomical chance I fail the training and all that stuff, I know that even that's going to change my awareness and how I feel and how I think about all this stuff. But once I am done with the program, I'm going to have a partner, a teammate, and and in that regard, that's what I'm partnering with. I'm partnering with a dog, and they're gonna be my new teammate, and we're gonna yeah, it's gonna help
Okay.
me.
Those are some different terms, man. Partnering and teammate. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. So you are considering this like assuming, because there was actually something that you said you could fail the training,
Hmm.
which I found that to be interesting. It's not just an automatic thing. And I don't know why I
Right.
never thought about it,
Yeah. Well,
in the
you
aspects of
wanna yeah, sorry,
yeah.
and that's the thing is, you wanna believe that everybody who needs one is deserving, but you have to have a mindset. You have to understand that there's techniques and there's training and there's participating in things greater than yourself. Once, because having a pet's having is like having a kid. There's a lot of things that go into taking care of them. This is not just a dog who's going to live with me and do nothing. This is a dog who's going to live with me and has learned and been trained to do things to help me in my life, but those things have to be worked on daily, weekly, monthly. You can't just bring the dog home and do nothing, and just the dog helps you, but like you don't help the dog. So there's a lot more to it. That I have reading material from the organization that I've gone over a few times, and it's a lot. And that's the thing you sign up for when you get into these programs. It's more than just bringing a dog home and loving a dog, which is an important aspect, but there's more to it. you know.
All right. I've got a couple of in-depth questions that I'm going to tag you with, but before we do, I'm going to highlight the organization that you are a part of, and we're going to watch a quick little 60-second video that they put out on their page and see what, type of organization this place is. Hey, look, Canine Companions. This is fair use, all right? Don't hit your boy with a copyright strike. I'm trying to bring views over to y'all's organization so that y'all can be highlighted and show the good work. All right.
Yeah.
So don't copyright strike us. Let's watch the video.
This is no ordinary puppy. He's a Canine Companions for Independence assistance dog in the making. Born, raised, and trained to rise to any challenge. Partnered to give independence to a child, adult, or veteran with a disability, entirely free of charge. Learn how you can give independence and give a dog a job at cci.org.
Whoo, man, boy, that story will hit you in the feels. The music and everything. Oh my goodness. So that is the organization that you are partnered with, or that you will be participating in. I
Yeah.
said it. I said it again. They were formerly called Canine Companions for Independence, and it looks like they've done a rebrand to just Canine Companions. Is that something that you were aware of, or
Um,
did you just always known it as Canine Companions?
I've always known it as Canine Companions for Independence. I don't
Canine
know that
Companions. Is
that
that
they've
something that
changed
you
that.
were okay?
Yeah.
Or
Um,
did you just always known it? Man, that was extra
that
sound.
was
I don't
weird.
know if you could hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Technical struggle stream, technical difficulties over here. I was trying to bring up the website. All right. And this is the website here, right? This is the
Yeah.
correct one, Canine Companions. Okay,
Yeah.
so how did you first hear about Canine Companions?
Um, so I heard about them from a friend of ours, a Universal connection. Um, they went through a similar program, and I had spent a few years working um, at a place where they had facility dogs. And so the idea of having a service animal had been there from that, from experiencing the organization, seeing what they did for other people, other veterans, and seeing, how much benefit or how much it helped those other veterans and those other people. And it changed my perspective on the things that I was dealing with. Because if you go back to previous episodes, you guys know my story. You know all the things I've worked through, I've dealt with, I still deal with. Um, but yeah, so I just said to myself, maybe this will help me. Maybe this will change some things that need changing. And so I got on the list, and a few years later, here I am, getting ready to go to the training.
A few years later. Now, earlier you said that it took you a while. When you say
Yeah.
a few years, approximately how long?
I was on the list for a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Is-
around the time when COVID started, I was like, let me put my name back on the list, and that's yeah. Now 2022, I'm finally going and getting participating in the training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you found out that you got selected, what was that process like after you applied? Did a project manager or somebody reach out
Yes.
to you and let you know? So, how was that initial phone call? How did you, or was it a phone call or email?
It was an email followed by a phone call, and there was a few different interactions digitally and over the phone. And because of COVID, it was, it's tough to do anything. But there was eventually an in-person interview. I took my whole family. We all went up to their campus, and we met them, and they asked questions, and we had, like, my wife asked questions, because my wife's part of the team, so like everything that I do has to really, she has to understand the ins and outs of what's going to happen too, because like I said, it's more than just owning a dog, and that's already a big responsibility, so but yeah, we've had a lot of communication with the organization, and they answered a lot of questions, helped us understand what it looks like going forward. Yeah, it's a process. It's a process, but it didn't feel overwhelming. They were always forthcoming with information, always, like, more than I was even ready for. Like they were like, you may not be asking the questions, but here's some material for questions you might not even know you have. Um, yeah, so it was it's an adventure, it's a journey.
Okay. Now, because me and you are cool, I am aware that you have, like your family has a
Mhm.
pet,
Yeah.
and that pet is a dog.
Hmm.
What does the situation look like? You go through that training, you attend the training, you graduate, you receive your companion, and you get back home, and there's conflict between the service dog to who is soon to be named,
Yeah.
and Nemesis, who is a
My little
really
French bulldog.
energetic, cool. That's a cool dog, man. Nemesis is it's funny. I actually like should come over and hang out more just because of Nemesis.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And see, and that's the thing is, I have a really sweet dog already, and there's a difference. So my dog at home brings me joy and helps me feel good. But the dog that I'll be receiving from CCI helps me out in the real world, and going out in public and doing things and interacting with people. My dog stays at home and doesn't do that. My dog isn't trained for any of those things. If anything, my dog at home is an emotional support dog, like all dogs really are. Like, let's be honest, pretty much all dogs are emotional support animals. They just provide that support at home. I mean, the ones that stay at home, and you love them and they love you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that you take them on a plane and they sit with you in your lap on the plane. I don't know any of the rules and regs about that stuff, but the dog that I will be receiving is a trained professional, for lack of a better word. It's The dog knows what it's supposed to do, does what it's supposed to do, and supports you and helps you in surviving the world.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a like, honestly, a very low chance there's any negative interaction between the two dogs. Their dogs are trained around lots of other animals, in the chance that they're going to be around, or with they're going to be paired with somebody who has pets. So those dogs are really accustomed to that stuff already. Their temperaments are really good. Like, I've never seen a dog out that's in their facility. I mean, they've all been perfectly behaved. Like, it's amazing. And then on top of that, my dog's extremely passive, so she'll just roll over and show her belly to any animal. she's the she is such a passive sweetheart dog, and she's got tons of energy, but she's so mellow when nobody else is around. She's super mellow. When strangers are around or friends are come by, she's like all over the place. It's such a weird shift in her behavior.
There was something that happened when I mentioned Nemesis. I caught both me and you just like our facial expressions changed, and we both just smiled,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
what
because
dogs
you're right.
do.
A
Yeah, that's
Nemesis
what dogs do.
temperament is
Yeah,
actually pretty dope.
she's fantastic.
There's a story that I want to get into about me, and it hinged on something that you just said. So, when me and you were both, I think you were still employed at the VA at the time. I was doing some training in Texas,
Hmm.
and I drove instead of flying because I wanted to
Hmm.
have a car while we were there because we'd be out
Makes
there
sense.
for some time. So on the way back, I was curious, A, to kind of save, gas on my part, and B, to help somebody out because it's the type of person that I am. I offered a ride share to go from Texas to Maryland. All right. So
Hmm.
halfway across the US,
Yeah.
essentially. And somebody took me up on that offer. On my offer, though, I said, hey, look, I have enough for one, maybe two with bags, no pets. Okay. And somebody reached out to me and said that, hey, I would like to take you up on that trip. However, I have two service dogs, but they'll
Hmm.
both be in crates, won't be an issue. And I was kind of like, service dogs? I
You
kind
just
of
don't
really
know.
don't, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But at the same time, so be it, right?
Yeah.
So I showed up, I met the person. They didn't seem like anybody who was gonna, jab me in my sleep or anything like that. So I took her up on the ride. And also because we were opposite gender and to me
Yeah.
like safety was paramount,
Yeah.
I wanted her to like I told her, hey, give my contact information to your people so that they know who I am. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
like, hey, look, I'm out here, okay? I public profile. I'm not known. I ain't famous, but I'm also all on social media with nothing to hide. But
Hmm.
but at being an older guy, being a parent as well, I said, "He- here's my license. Give your parents my information, or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, give your parents my information, just in case." All right. But when I
Hmm.
showed up, okay, to kind of relay this back and bring it back to the subject, it wasn't a service dog by like definition. They were two, you guess you would say, like emotional support animals. And
Yeah.
to me, that's a clear distinction,
It's a
in my
difference.
opinion. And I felt lied to, which
Yeah.
I almost was like, we're not doing this because you lied to me. Okay. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not an asshole. So you know what? Let's just do this. The dogs are crated anyway. Turned out to not be an issue. I didn't have to worry about, fur or
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
inside of the car, whatnot. The dogs didn't poop anytime, and it was a easy trip. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I wish that this person hadn't lied and said it was a service dog instead of emotional support type animal.
Yeah. So there's a big distinction. Like for example, the program that I'm going through is going to make sure this dog is ADA compliant, the Americans with Disabilities Act
Hmm.
compliant. And that's a big deal because that dog would be allowed in federal buildings and stuff like that. Um, and I understand, and so as veterans, we hear about this sort of thing all the time where people take dogs and say they're service animals, but they're not. When an animal's a service animal, they behave a certain kind of way. They're not barking, they're not sniffing people's butts, they're not doing the things a normal dog would do, which is not to say that that's bad. It's just not what you bring a dog in public to do.
Hmm.
And it makes it look bad for the people who do have those trained dogs. You know what I mean? It makes life difficult for the people with ADA compliant animals and stuff like that. But I do understand some people have a need for an emotional support animal. So I try not to get mad about it. We've heard these stories all the time about people taking like miniature horses on planes and whatnot. And oh, come on, man. Like deep down that that horse is not it's not a service animal. but um but yeah, like you want to understand and feel for those people too. They shouldn't have to say it's something it's not though. And that's the thing is I feel like they think it's going to give more weight to their situation. Maybe they feel bad because they require emotional support animal.
Hmm.
People shouldn't. because I think we're pretty open about that stuff these days. And but there are people like us, veterans, who look down on people who don't have a service animal but are calling it emotional, but it is an emotional support animal, and taking it on a plane or something like that. So we got to be careful, because we hate on those people. We want them to behave differently, but we're not giving them a chance because we're
Mm.
hating on them. You know what I mean? So we got to be careful with that, because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know.
So
But
do you?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
All right. So do you know? Is there some type of like card that you get or something that you know if challenged, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, that you could be like, boom.
So legally, I don't think anybody's allowed to really. Well, they're allowed to ask if you have that, and I think I'm from the literature and everything. I think I'm receiving like a card that's signed and sealed, that shows that the dog is ADA compliant, and I'm the owner, or the partner, and then the dog's name and all that stuff. Like, I think there's that, but so yeah, I think, but I don't know the laws in the different states. Are like, I think like federal buildings, they're allowed to ask for an identification, but I don't know if everybody's allowed to. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of know the answer, but I wanted to
Mm,
talk it out in case
yeah,
somebody out there has a question. Like I learned
yeah.
this, okay? At least in the state of Maryland. All right. In the state of Maryland, oh, I just had it up. Oh, here we go. Maryland service animal laws apply to guide dogs, signal dogs, and other dogs as well. Yada yada. Um, because people that don't have their own place. All right. It says when it comes to housing, Maryland law requires landlords to allow service animals for tenants with disabilities. Now, this is for people who are renting. Okay. If you have your
Mm,
own place, screw whatever, the
yeah,
person has to say about however many dogs or whatever that you have in your house. But if you're somebody that is a renter instead of owning, and you have a service dog, a landlord cannot deny you a service animal, because it's not just dogs. There are other
yeah, yeah.
service animals that qualify for that. And it says you can't be required to pay extra just because you have your service animal. However, that doesn't leave you out of obligations to pay for damage that the animal may cause to that rental. And all of that falls into ADA, as well
Mhm.
as the Fair Housing Act as well. All right. The Fair Housing Act discriminates people in housing that requires accommodations and the use of a service animal. So if you're somebody that's out there that would that could benefit, okay, from having a service animal, and you're not entirely too sure of the laws, okay, talk to an organization. They have
Mhm.
people on staff that can help you out, go through, because it sounds like, and I like to talk a little bit more about this, you have to go through an evaluation yourself, like a little pre-screening,
Yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
So did they cover that, or did you have to drive up there or fly to the
N-
to
For that
at
one,
the
I
site itself?
drove. Like, we drove as a family. Everything they're doing for us when it involves the dog is covered. So I don't want to, like if they require me to drive a couple of times for a few hours, I don't really mind that. Like, especially because of what they're doing to help me. Like, I'm willing to come out of pocket for whatever I can afford to if I have to. And they're not asking that. But like, if it's something small, or like it's something reasonable, yeah, I'll go and I'll do it. But yeah, I don't want to take too much from them either. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Hey, thanks, Eric.
shout out to Eric Nieves. He left a comment, and I'm gonna post it up here. He says, "Love the podcast, guys." Hey, let
Thanks,
me give you
man.
let's give you
Big
a
old
clap
shout out.
for coming in here and leaving a comment and watching us live, man. We always appreciate the live viewers, because we've been on for a while, but we don't do marketing. All right, it's just
Yeah.
us. And we're not talking about salacious topics and stuff all the time that could get
Not all the
views. We
time.
could, we will, but not all of the time. Our
Yeah.
goal is to talk about the things that matter to us, and also, and this might be fair. I don't think Joe's ever said this, but it's like, let's let's apply critical thinking to things
Yeah.
that are out there, even if it is a salacious topic. Let's
Yeah.
critically think through and talk through it.
It's okay to
Um,
be on two sides of the conversation. Let's have the conversation. You know?
exactly, exactly. Now, you said earlier that you considered Canine Companions because of somebody else that you knew. Did
Yeah.
you look at other organizations or
Yes.
nonprofits?
Yes.
And how was that? Like, did you look and apply,
Yes.
or
So
okay,
so what happened was there was an organization that I had worked alongside, and they're amazing, and I'll talk about them. America's Vet Dogs,
okay,
amazing, amazing organization. They do incredible things, and they train these fantastic, amazing dogs. And I got on their list. I went through the process, and something came up in my life, in my professional life, that made me feel like somebody made me feel like I shouldn't, like it would be a bad thing for my career. And so I took my name off the list. And this was
hmm,
many years ago. And I regret every minute of it. I really do.
interesting.
Um, and so I allowed somebody to influence my health. It's unfortunate, but it happens. We do a lot of things for our professional life to make sure our families are taken care of.
Yes.
So so I chose work over myself. I don't do it often, but I did. And and in America's Vet Dogs was great. They were great. They were like they completely understand. Um, if I change my mind, get back on the list. They held my spot for me. And after a while, I moved on to another place, and things changed. Things got better. And I was like, okay, now I think I'm ready to try again. And then, our friend who has gone through the process and received theirs, I met their dog and I'm like, oh, this dog's amazing. Uh, and our friend described the process and described everything they did, and the benefits of it, and the cons too, like to temper my expectations. And I was just like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm not going to let anybody influence me negatively again. I'm not going to stop myself from moving forward. And so I did, and now we're here, and I'm glad for it.
Okay. All right, man. That's good. I don't think I ever knew that because me and you talk about a lot. I also have a
Yeah.
bad memory as well, but I don't
Well,
think I ever knew about the first time out, bro.
yeah, so the what it was you guys were still working where you were working, and I had moved on to another organization. And you guys were traveling the country and doing your training and doing your things, and making moves, making money moves. And I was doing what I was doing, and I got so busy that I stopped talking to everybody. I was just so busy, and that's when I knew I had to change what I was doing, because
Mm.
that job was eating up too much of my life and my time. I was waking up, I was going to work. By the time I got home, it was like dinner time, kids go to bed, go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like there was no time for me and my family. And like the only times we had were on the weekends, and I was so exhausted from all the commuting, and the even the work was physical. Like it was a lot of walking, a lot of doing stuff, a lot of meeting people. I'm not a very, how you say, out not outgoing, what's the word, when you're not outgoing?
Like extrovert,
Yeah,
introvert
I'm an
type
introvert.
situation.
You can't tell, like, because I'm a good speaker. I'm a good orator, but I'm not an extrovert. Like, as much as I pretend I am because I have to, because we're at work, I'm not really. So I come home and I need time and I need to decompress. I need to relax. I need to get all that out of me. And
Yes.
yeah, and I know everybody does. Like even extroverts do. You know what I mean? Like I totally understand that. Like everybody does. But it's different for introverts. We have to like recharge our social batteries afterwards. We're just not we can't do it all the time. I
That
prefer
is
yeah.
That is my daughter, man. Like the way you explained that was
Mhm.
exactly what she said to me one day
Yeah.
because I thought she was like me. Like I get energy being around people. I
Yeah.
like being in the mix. My daughter has this. She'll do what she has to do for the amount of time that she has to do it, and then she goes in her room, walls herself off, and just
Mhm.
recharges. As she said, it's like it's that time that she needs to recharge her social batteries.
Mhm.
And I almost have it down to a science to where I can look at her and tell
You know it's time.
when she's done.
Yep. There's a look. When that look hits, you're like, all right, it's time to go.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So something that I've always kind of thought about too. Um, when you get assuming you pass, let's talk in that way. I like to
Yeah.
be positive,
Of
but
course. Yeah. I
you
want to talk
know,
it into existence too.
all right.
Yeah.
Now you graduate, all right,
Right.
and you have this companion that's there with you. What are going to be some of the immediate changes that you're going to have to do, maybe work wise, car wise, and things like that to
Yeah.
accommodate for the additional companion?
So I've already started to make changes around the house, like a place for the dog to sleep. We're gonna have a place for the dog to eat. Uh, so I'll start in phases. So the home, obviously we got to change things around so the dog has their own place, feels comfortable. I'm gonna have to change my habits. Like dog's gonna have to be walked every day a few times. Dog's gonna need exercise every day. Dog's gonna need training. I think every week. There's the upkeep of a dog, bathing and clipping and brushing and stuff like that. So those are the basic home things that'll change. I've already started making the changes at work where I've informed my supervisor. I've gone through a process for reasonable accommodation. So that way where I work is fully aware. There's no issues, no legal issues, no people issues, and everybody's on board. Everybody's great. It's been a pressureless process. It's just a
Yes.
process. So that's been nice. It's a welcome change. And then there's the travel aspect, which I have a nice sized car. Going to put a seat down. Going to put a cushion in the back. And the dog's going to have all this space to stretch out while we're driving and while we're moving and yeah, it'll be not a lot has to change in a negative way at all. Like there's really no negative change. It's all just moving some things around so the dog is a respected and cared for member of the team. That's all.
I'm always curious. Now, I don't have any pets in my adult life. I've never owned any pets or
Yeah,
animals. Let me just say animals.
yeah,
Uh, does your expenses go up
of
by
course.
having a
Yeah,
service animal?
yeah, of course.
Um,
Food, so like we have to feed the dog. We have to get medical. We're gonna get it's a puppy plan, for lack of a better word, where if anything happens to dog, we can take him to a vet, and the bills are reasonably covered. We already do that for my dog at home. My dog at home has had a few things that they had to have taken care of, and so yeah, so it's the same as having a kid. Healthcare, food and dental. Like the usual things everybody needs. So yeah, expenses go up a tiny bit. I mean, a little bit, but for me, it's I would do it for my kid, so why wouldn't I do it for my dog?
all right. So there's some pre-stuff things that happen that we've kind of talked about a little bit,
Yeah.
and then you're on the campus that are there. Is it just you, or is there like a cohort of people,
It's
adults? and
There's a
kids that go
cohort.
through.
Yeah, there's a cohort and the team of trainers and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right. And then there's 2 weeks of that. And then you graduate. When is the naming ceremony? Like, when do you know the name?
Not until they tell me. They're gonna tell me which dog they decide is a good fit for me, and I'm a good fit for the dog because that's important. It's not just about the dog being a good fit for me. It's like, am I a good fit for the dog?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they'll tell me. I don't know. Not allowed to
Hey,
know. Not allowed to talk about it until it happens.
I'm going to speak this into existence. Joker, if you have a service dog whose name happens to be Joker, you know the
Mm,
universe is going to
Cosmic.
be in alignment with everything it was meant to be.
It's cosmic. Just cosmic, man.
That's good, man. That's good. So I wanted to get this live stream and
Yeah.
podcast done today to give some words and stuff to this topic, because there's going to be other people out there that may want to know about a service animal, and specifically this is Canine Companion, so my assumption by the title is they deal specifically with canines. All right,
Mhm.
there's a lot of other organizations and nonprofits that are out there, but hey, look, if you're somebody that could benefit from a service animal or a service dog, okay, take the necessary steps, do the market research, see what's out there, and reach out to these organizations and nonprofits. And if the fit's there, okay, then they will guide you to what the next steps are, to where, hey, you can find that companion that can assist you in your life as you're, living and breathing on this earth. Joe, is there anything that I missed that you would like to bring up before we depart today?
No, but like I normally do, like a closing thought, never be afraid to take care of yourself. And don't let
Yes.
somebody tell you how you're taking care of yourself is the wrong way.
Mm,
Because how you feel, if it makes you feel better, as long as you're not hurting anyone, then take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you're important. Treat yourself like you would treat any other important thing.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey man, this has been another episode of the Just Joking podcast. Our next episode, you will not be here.
Nope.
This is very unfortunate for me. Let me give myself the Mario here. All right. But I have something in mind for the viewers as always. All right. So while Joe's pretty face and pretty beard won't be here next week, or his pretty voice, we have a special guest. The person that we didn't mention by name
Hmm.
who received a service animal is going to come on. He's had a service animal for over a year and a half to 2 years now. It's been a
I
while.
think it's been like 3 years.
3 years. Wow, time flies. So
Yeah.
he's going to come on in your place. He's going to be the co-host. We might have to call this the Just Blank. I'm not going to say his name just yet, podcast, but he's going to come on and talk about, his life post Canine Companion, and give the perspective of how things have been going for him over the last couple of years. And then we're going to have you back where you belong, over
Yeah.
here next to me, live and in charge. So, hey, man, we'll miss you, man.
Yo, miss you, bro.
We'll miss you, bro. But I'm glad that we were able to get on and do this. We didn't go live on our regular day yesterday because I was doing a midterm. All right. And that class, we're going to see how this goes. I'll let y'all
Mm,
know that now. This stats class is kicking my ass. All right.
yeah.
Okay, well, hey, shout out to the people that watch the live stream. Shout out to the people that will catch this in the future. Okay, this is future me. I thank you for watching this. We thank you for watching and listening to the Just Joking podcast. All right, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so that you can be aware of when we post up videos and go live. Okay, hit the notification bell as well. If you're catching this on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Apple Podcasts, leave us feedback. let us know. Rate us however you feel you should rate us. But if it's anything below 3 stars, I'm coming and I'm gonna give you a little bit of thunder and a little bit of lightning. And for those of y'all that can't see, that's the right hand and the left hand. Joe, have fun. I don't know if you have a 4-day weekend like I do, but your boy's off for the next 4 days. I'm going to enjoy
Nice.
it, relax, catch up, do some
Doing that.
homework, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, hey, I'd like to come and see you before you go out, if that's cool. I know you've bubbled yourself off. Hey,
Yeah.
deal with this. How about I come to your house? I come outside, you sit at the door, we wave and say, hey, I give you a salute and wish you well, and then I'll go back. How about that, man? Does that work?
It's all good, man. Whatever you want to do.
All right, man. I'll reach out to you, bro.
All right, man. Be good, dude.
All right. Peace.